welcome back. This is part 2 of a video I'm making about converting single earrings into pendants. I'll take all of these and put them on chains, and we can look at the awesome creations that we made. Woohoo! Along with our little froggy friend who's already been through it. He says, "Hey guys, it's not so bad. I know you were lonely once, but your life's about to change. A whole new life, whole new adventure for all these lovely earrings." So today I'm going to just, do a little do-it-yourself video on how to convert some single earrings that are sterling silver with some semi-precious gemstones in it into some really beautiful pendants. And I'm going to take you through kind of the thought process in which helps me decide which earrings to actually choose to take the time to turn into pendants. And actually, here's an example of one cute, precious earring that I converted actually a couple years ago. He was he was in a frog earring that I had gotten, but I had gotten an entire sterling silver lot, and this only came with one frog. And in this case, the way I turned this into a pendant was actually different than any other ways that I did today, because what I did for him is I just took the actual post, which obviously came straight out here, and I used my thinnest round nose pliers to just, curve the post to be able to hold my necklace in. The reason I didn't fully cut it off and do a different way is because there's nothing to put a bail on if I had cut that off. And then also, this is not a flat surface, so it would be very difficult in here for me to glue something down because it's all bumpy and kind of, hollow in there. So it was more challenging. So instead, in this case, especially since his feet sat lower than where I was making this created bail with the post back, I thought that would work for him. And it does fine. It lays very nicely on the neck. He lays nice. And he gets to look right up at me with his little green eyes. Cutie patootie. Oops, sorry. He's flying all over the place. Okay. So we'll let our little froggy friend, hang out today and join us. Actually, also, his back is covered in marcasites, and he wasn't missing any. I mean, he was just in great shape, but just was lonely. So we gave him a new life, and yeah. So that being said, I wanted to tell one real quick story. The other day, I told a story about a few of rings that I had on, and I thought I'd do that again today with a ring that I'm wearing. I already talked about this one, but this emerald cut 10-karat gold ring that I'm wearing here was actually given to me by my mother a few years ago before she passed away. And it was given to her by her mother. Her mother had passed away, and that was many, many years ago. So this ring is probably, I don't even know, 70 years, like old, really, really, really old. And I knew from the beginning that it wasn't an emerald because it was too clean and didn't have, like an actual true emerald would have imperfections in it. But I didn't know if it was maybe lab created or whatever. So after my mom had given it to me, I brought it home. It is 10 karat. And I had taken it to a jeweler, and he actually confirmed for me that this center stone was actually made of glass, which I thought was interesting. I was like, well, why would people put a glass gemstone into a 10 karat ring? But the center stone, I was so shocked by that. So he just explained to me that it wasn't uncommon back then for people to do that in some of their really fine jewelry. And he also told me that not because of the actual green stone in here, but the actual setting itself is what has the value. Like the ring's worth about $1,000, but not because of the stone, mostly because it's a ring that's got a setting, made for a very large stone, and it was very, very well made and all that. And he, you know, so that was very interesting to me, that all the value came from, you know, the making of the setting, which is interesting. So that being said, I considered at the time, you know, asking him if he thought maybe I should, you know, maybe look into replacing it with you know, maybe like a lab created emerald or whatever. But ultimately, I decided that I was just going to leave it exactly as it was, because, you know, that's how my grandmother wore it, and I wanted to wear it just like she wore it. So that's the little story on that ring. Let's see if I can take this off and show where it shows 10 carat in here. It says 10 carat, and then according to the jeweler, the letters FG, he thinks was the designer of the ring. It doesn't have anything to do with the gold. Like, it's not like, you know, gold filled or anything. It doesn't stand for filled gold, I'll tell you that. It is definitely a gold ring. That when let me just real quick do a quick calibration of this. You know, in actual glass, I believe, shouldn't move the gem tester at all, even though, you know, it has a glass area there. I think a lot of glass doesn't move it at all, like nothing. It, you know, moves the teeniest little bit. But these side ones, or maybe they're white spinel, they definitely are a gemstone. But it really only goes into the spinel area. So I don't know, maybe it's white spinel, those side things. But that's the little story on that. When I brought it home after my mom had given it to me, I had gotten it sized so it would fit me, because, you know, I obviously wanted to be able to wear it, and I do. I wear it a lot. So that's the story on my grandmother's ring. There you go. Okay, so today is not a jewelry mystery bag sharing or a jewelry haul. So it would be a completely separate video, and I will do it, where I can show you how you can take clip back earrings or twist back or some other ones that are not pierced, and turn those into pendants as well. So with that being said, I am going to take more time and really, really show you in detail about how I do some of these items. And I'm not going to do all these earrings. I'm going to take you through the process of what I do and the way I think when I'm trying to make decisions about which earrings I choose. And then I'll show you how I completely fix a few of them. And the first thing that I want to talk about is how we basically need to kind of sort through our jewelry, our earrings specifically, and then decide which ones we're going to physically turn into pendants, because it's worth it for you personally, because you will enjoy it, because it will be in your own personal collection. Or you may be wanting to take a single earring and turn it into a pendant because you plan to give it as a gift to somebody, which is a very nice thing to do. Or like I do in most cases, I plan to resell them. And I have sold single earrings that on eBay I've sold as a pendant. And in my eBay listing, I actually will disclose that it was originally a single earring and that I had converted it to a pendant, so that the buyer knows exactly what they're getting. And they make beautiful pendants. Ahead of time, I've already gone through and I have pulled out everything that's sterling silver, because like for me, it's important for me to know those things that are sterling silver, because you know, when I list them, you know, that affects the value. But there's a lot of really beautiful things that aren't sterling silver that are still can have high value too. So don't let that be the end all be all of things. Go through my sterling silver earrings in the same way, and we're going to sort them just the same way. Some of these sterling silver ones, I've already taken pieces off of it that they were earrings, because I knew that I was going to be doing this, turning them into pendants. Some of these are smaller, but I'm going to give you some other ideas of how we can use that. Okay, so here is a beautiful you know, bezel set. I'm not even sure what stone that is, but it is actually a stone. It is cold. It used to be an earring. It actually has a mark on the back, which is going to make it more sellable. So we will be turning that into a pendant. That's a yes. This is like a copper kind of artisan-made earring, possibly, maybe handmade by somebody. I just think the look of just a long stick, I don't know, it may not work so well as a pendant. So I'm going to put that in a no, although it's nice. Now this is sterling, so I can scrap it. I do collect all scrap, and I'll take it and I'll get money for the scrap jewelry that is sterling silver, that's precious metal. Here's a teeny little, what used to be earring. It definitely does have its, you know, mark on the back for 925. It is so simple that I'm not quite sure I would take the time, because it's so small and simple. There's nothing standing out. That's more of a maybe to me. Not that a pendant can't be that little, because they can. Here's another one that when I show it to you side by side, they're both sterling. They both have semi-precious stones in it. This, I believe, is amethyst, because I've already tested it. And I believe that's onyx. They're both sterling silver. They're the same size, but to me, this has just got this filigree work in there. It's just so much more interesting to the eye. And again, not every pendant has to be huge. So, you know, I'm not saying no to this. It's just not going to be my priority. So that one's a maybe, and this one to me is a yes. Here's an earring that had sort of a textured hammer look to it. This is actually a stone when I did it on my, you know, Presidium gem tester. It did actually register. I just am not quite sure what stone it is. This is pretty cool. I like it. I think it could make an interesting pendant. I'm kind of on the fence between maybe and yes, but I'm going to put it in maybe. We'll see how many yeses we get. Here's an example of a there's no question. And let me put these side by side and show you why. One is a maybe and one's a, oh gosh, I have to do that. This also is sterling silver. It was an earring. You can see its mark for metal purity on the back. This is lapis lazuli right there. That's bezel set there. Kind of a cabochon bezel set, round cabochon stone there. Anyways, and to me, this would just make an unbelievable pendant. This one's a maybe. I don't know. It just doesn't pop as much to me. Here's something that was an earring that is sort of this wire wrapped. It's a stone. It looks like, I believe it's probably jade, and I believe that wire wrapping is sterling. But to me, I think that's worth turning into a pendant. This is a no-brainer. This used to have an earring post back that was right here. I used a tool to snip off the post back. This was the tool I used. And then I go in and I'll use like a file to file this down so it's really smooth. It's beautiful. And in here, I don't even need to create a bell. All I need to do is, I just needed to cut that off, you know, smooth it down. And then my actual necklace can actually go through the holes there. And instead of it hanging like the earring, which was that way, we're going to hang it as a necklace that way. And it's really beautiful. So that's a no-brainer, yes. Okay, so here's an example of something that to me it's beautiful. It's got some, you know, crystal beads on there. This is a freshwater pearl. This is all sterling silver. It was a beautiful earring. I don't know, not quite big enough for me to use for a pendant, but this is an example of some things that I set aside. And sometimes I will like add something like this onto the bottom of another necklace to give it an extra something. Or maybe I add it as a charm onto some sort of charm bracelet. So I could have some other uses for this, but I'm not going to actually use it for a pendant. Not big enough. This is an absolute no. So I'll just scrap that for material. Okay, so here's an earring that actually had a little part on it that was like bendable or whatever. I already took off the earring part of it. It's been tested, and this is iolite. I can't remember, but all I know is it's authentic gemstone. I think that will make a nice pendant. Here's another one of those things that I think would be easy to add. It's a glass bead on a charm of a bracelet or something. Again, the same thing with this. Although it's cute, it is sterling silver. It is actually an authentic amethyst bead there. It does have a mark on it. I mean, I could turn this into a necklace. I'm sure somebody would buy it. But I'm trying to do some more statement pieces here, so I'm going to use that more like adding as a charm onto a bracelet. This is very pretty. You know, it's got marcasite accents in there. It's not missing any, but it's pretty small. I mean, like, you can see the size of my fingernail. I don't think it's quite big enough, but again, this is probably something I would add onto something else. This one's a little bit bigger. Let me show you the example and the size difference between these two. I'm not saying you can't have a little pendant that's pretty, because you could. But size-wise, you can see how much bigger the one on the left is. Can make more of an impact. This has been tested. From what I recall, that's amethyst, but it looks awfully light. So I don't know, I have to check it again. But I do know it's sterling silver. It would make a nice pendant. Okay, this is very interesting. It's really big. It's probably about the size of a nickel. This is like, I don't even know what this is. It was like art painted. It's interesting because it's not a stone. But what it's in is sterling silver. I've tested it, and I've tested it again because I was thinking, how could this be sterling silver? But then it was a post back. I had cut off the post back to it because I was going to possibly turn it into a pendant. This one's a maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's nice, but... Okay, this is moonstone. And also this is garnet. I know because I've tested it. It's got this little, you know, thing that moves. I think that could make a nice pendant. So I'm going to say yes. Although this is very pretty. This might be jade. I'm not sure. I have to go and check it again. It is sterling silver. It does have his marks on the back. It's pretty small. I could turn it into a pendant. This was kind of on the fence about it if I had the time. It also could be a nice add to a necklace that I'm making where I'm adding something to what's already existing. This is glass beads. This is sterling silver and freshwater pearl, but just not something that I would make into a pendant, so that's a no. Here's a moonstone. You know, it's the same size as some of these others. Really? I don't know, but the moonstone itself's a little bigger. I'm going to say yes to this, but again, that doesn't mean I can't go back and still turn these other ones. I just don't have all the time in the world. Okay, this one is very interesting. This was a very long earring, and when it was an earring. From the side, it's like a dragon. I don't know if you can see that. This is a garnet here. I'd be interested to know if that's possibly gold there. I do know it's sterling, the rest of it, and it's got this tail and the hook of where the earring was. So I think that could make a pendant. I don't think most pendants are usually long like that, but this one is so unique and different that I'm going to go against my own thing of I don't think those make good pendants and do it for this one because it's so different. Okay, so here's a old earring that sort of had like a little, you know, cha-cha. These are actually glass. Those might be plastic, actually. I don't know. I guess it's sterling. I don't know why it's in here. Maybe I tested it. Interesting. I'm going to say no on that. This is interesting. I think I'm going to say yes on this one. It's pretty long. It's about 1.5 inches long. Maybe jasper at the bottom there. I'm not sure. I think that could make a nice pendant. Here's another one that I think would make a lovely pendant. It's about 1 inch long. That's the moonstone there. You know, bezel set moonstone. Okay, this is sterling silver. This is very cool and to look at. But the reason I'm going to say no to this is because as it lays on the neck, there's no guarantee how it will lay, and it's not always going to look good to me. It can't like lay flat on you know, as a pendant. So I just don't think it's something I'll probably just scrap and get the value for. This is a really pretty, it was an earring, obviously post back. I don't know, I think that's interesting enough to potentially turn it into one. This is just like a cluster of stones. It is sterling silver. It's interesting, but again, I don't think it will lay right in order to make this one a pendant worthy. So I'm gonna say no for that. Okay, so I got my no pile, I got my maybe pile, and I got my yes pile. And so I'm gonna put those away and come back to those later. I am sure there's many how-to videos out there that are 15 minutes on how to make a pendant. And I could have done a 15-minute video for you, but I really wanted to take you through the process. So sorry this is running on long, but now we're going to move on to the next stage, which is, you know, preparing the items. A lot of these I've already prepped. So like this one's ready to turn into a pendant. That one's ready. This one's ready. These are all ready because I've already taken off what was attached to them. This one's ready. This one's ready. That one's not. This one's ready. This one's ready. This one's ready. Okay, so I have 3 here. Actually, I'm wrong. This was probably one of those earrings that had like metal that went over the top and then kind of went into the hook. That's probably how the earring was attached. But all I'm going to do is go in and clip this off as flush as I can. Now, mind you, the other stuff I took off were on non-precious metal items, but I know that this is sterling silver. So even though I'm going to use this for a pendant, I don't throw this away. This still has value. It's sterling silver metal that I'll put into my scrap. I just wanted to put that somewhere where I know. And again, I would take my file and I would flatten it and try to smooth it down. I'm just not going to do it right now this second. Okay, so those are ready. Here, again, this is a sterling silver earring, and so this earring hook is also sterling silver, so I will make sure that I put this hook. I'm not going to throw this hook away. I just do it to the side. You see that? I'm going to slide that off, and then I'm just going to take it right back so it can maintain its circle. Hope you can see that. Okay. So that one's ready. And then I'm going to keep that sterling silver hook. Okay, this one's more significant because this actual hook here is what includes this pretty part. This pretty part is not part of the original. I don't know how I'd use that because I only have one of them, but it's cool. I think it's just a bead that was put on there. Interesting. All right. So again, I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to turn it to the side. I'm going to slide this off. I can't get it off yet. Sterling silver is very soft, see, and pliable. So you want to make sure when you're working with it that you're not bending it really far or really fast because it can actually break. I don't want the sterling silver stuff to break, so, okay. And then on this one's sort of unique. It's a hook earring, but it's not like one that you can attach. It's actually like, you know, been attached to this permanently. So in this case, what I'm going to do, I like the look of the little ball right here, so I'm not going to cut that part off. I like the idea that that stays part of the pendant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip this. I'm going to sort of get this out of the way so that I can get my tool in here. But I'm going to try to come as low as I can right in here and snip it off. Okay, there we go. So I have some work to do there because this is sort of scratchy up at the top. So again, I'll kind of file it down. And this I will put into scrap because it has value. Okay. All right, so we've prepped that. And now we got all the earrings ready. I've already prepped all of the earrings that I had picked. So now what we're going to do is basically put on bails so that we can then put them on necklaces and enjoy them. Yesterday I did talk a little bit about what kind of stones were in some of these, but I went and double checked all of them. So as I talk about each one, I can tell you exactly what they are because today I tested them and checked all of them. I want to just make at this point, any jewelry that, like yesterday, all of the single earrings that I converted into necklaces were all costume jewelry. And so any sort of jump rings or things that or bails that I added to those were not precious, semi-precious metal. They weren't sterling silver. They were just other kinds of metal. But because these are all sterling silver, and many of them are marked sterling silver, I know that they all are, I want to make sure that any sort of jewelry findings that I put on them are sterling silver as well, so that I can sell those items as a complete sterling silver item. So I do have, I have ordered over the years different size jump rings and clip-on bails and, you know, lobster claw clasps and a whole, and different, you know, backs and things like that, ear spikes and sterling silver, lots of different things. But today all we're really going to be working with is bails and jump rings. So that being said, let me just pull out a few that I have. I have a couple of these kind of, you know, bails that you just kind of clip on if there's a hole that's big enough. But otherwise, I'll have to use jump rings. I probably wouldn't invest in putting a clip-on bail or even a bail in general unless these were kind of bigger and fancier. If it was some teeny thing, you know, I mean, these cost me money, like they weren't cheap. And so I'd want to put it on something that I thought would, you know, help make up the money in resale. So, and then also I talked briefly yesterday about, you know, putting on jump rings and the correct way to do that. I'll show you that today. But I'll be using round nose pliers and flat nose pliers, and probably also I'll be using bent chain pliers or bent nose pliers. People call them different things. So we'll be using those as well. So let me just start off with this one right here. This is, just as I had predicted yesterday, this is in fact jade. So I'm going to show you real quick on the gem tester. Okay, so there you go. So it actually already has like a jump ring on it, like an additional one. Like when you make pendants, you want to make sure that the orientation of your jump ring allows that when a necklace is strung through the jump ring or the bail, that it allows the pendant to sit flat against, you know, the chest or, you know, the, you know, collarbone area of, you know, whoever's wearing it. You know, you don't want it to sit sideways because the jump ring is twisted the wrong way. So it's important that the last jump ring or bail is turned in this direction so that you can then string a, you know, put a chain in there and it'll lay flat. If I tried to put a chain through the jump ring that's added onto here, then my chain would have to go down from top to bottom, which would cause it to lay sideways, and we don't want that. So it's the thing you have to consider when you're doing this. And I think I'm going to use this one that's more of a clip-on bail. Let me just get out a few of those. I don't need to do anything to that jump ring. I'm just going to hold it while I sit here and try to slide on this. Okay, so there we go. I just sort of popped it on. So now the orientation, this is actually a cabochon stone that's wire wrapped in sterling silver. You can see how it's flat there. Okay, so I'll be able to string my necklace in just like that. So that one's ready. And I'm not necessarily going to use a bail on every single one of these. I may just use jump rings, especially on the smaller ones. So I have some smaller ones here that I'll probably use jump rings on. This one, this one. I don't know, maybe that one. Some of the other ones are bigger. Okay, so this is moonstone. This is a Cabochon bezel set amethyst. And then this is a faceted, lighter colored amethyst that's also bezel set and oval. And so I'll show you real quick. I don't think moonstone shows up on the gem tester. No. But this is the little Cabochon that goes up to amethyst. And then this one also goes up to amethyst. So for these three, I think I'm just going to actually use jump rings. So let me go in, and you want to pick a jump ring that's big enough that, like a typical necklace that always usually has like a hooking part on the end, you know, usually with a little jump ring of its own, can actually fit through. You don't want it so small that it doesn't fit through. I think that size is plenty. I think that if I tried to put this jump ring on, which isn't much bigger than the circle that's already there, I don't think I'd be able to fit the chain through. So I'm going to use these. These are, in fact, sterling silver jump rings. So I'm just going to get out 3. Again, for those of you that are new to my channel, my name's Curry. I'm with Cherished Relics Boutique. And not that today is really a day of like sale items or anything, but you know, you can always check out my the information part of my video, or any of the videos for that matter that I post on my YouTube channel if you're ever interested in any of the items you see. If they're not already listed on my eBay page, which you can reach out to me in the information part of the video description. And you know, if they are not listed yet, then I'm happy to do a private sale with you, and you can send me the information that's asked for there. So the way you put on a jump ring, it's really important to maintain the round shape of a jump ring. You don't want to deform that shape. So what you have to do is, using flat nose pliers, and I want to try to gently hold on to these. I don't want to pinch them so tight that I like mark up the actual ring, scratches and dents and things like that. And basically what I want to do is I just want to twist out to the side. So if you see here, I'm just going to twist it like that. And I can then add on my necklace pendant. And then I want to keep that straight, that circle shape. So here I'm just going to be moving it right back sideways where it was, like that. So that moonstone one is ready for a necklace. I am not a professional jewelry maker, so I'm not exactly the fastest at this. I'm very fumbly with my hands. Here's our next one. Cute little filigree charm there. Again, I have it all lined up and straight, and you can see that I've kept the round shape of that jump ring. See, it's so like, sterling silver is so soft. I worry that it will, like, you know, and it's not like, you know, you're gonna like go and solder those all back together. But anyway, so there's our little amethyst thing there. Okay. All right. So then I have a few other kind of more substantial pendants that I've pulled out here. I showed this one in my video that I had done before this one. This actually was a single earring that I had cut off the post back right here. And because I didn't want, this was sterling silver, it was marked with sterling silver. You can see that it's sterling silver. What I didn't want to do is take this thing and cover it up so that people couldn't see it was sterling silver. So I just chose to come around to a different part of the circle in which I glued on this bail. I had bought these nice glue-on bails, which is also sterling silver. But I still think it sits very nicely there and looks beautiful as a, you know, probably great choker pendant, however someone chooses to use it. So again, this is an example of me using sterling silver findings on sterling silver jewelry, just to be consistent in that. But that is a glue-on bail. But unfortunately, there's a couple things I need to use the glue-on bail today, but this is too big for those items, so I won't be using that bail in any of the necklaces that I convert today. I'll show you that it was a garnet real quick. There you go. Okay. Let me get out a few more of those jump rings. So there we go. Just move it back together. There we go. It's nice and straight. Okay, so he's done. And then we got this really big, heavy one. I just feel like he needs something more significant. So at a minimum, I want to use one of these clip-on bails just because it's a bigger earring. Okay, so there you go. It's looking like that. Here's an example of one that I actually don't need to do anything to, because when I string my necklace, it's going to go right through the corner right here. I did actually test this. At first, I thought it was amethyst, but I retested all these, like I said, and I found out that this one is actually glass. Or it's possible it's a colored cubic zirconia. It does move a little bit. Just barely, but it's still pretty. Kind of that square faceted stone, kind of bezel set in there. It's really pretty. So that's ready to go. And this one's more significant. This one is actually, I thought yesterday it might be amethyst, but after testing it today, I do believe it's iolite. You see it goes right there into the iolite tourmaline. So that's what I believe it is. And the colorings are exact. If we kind of looked through this, it would look kind of like a very kind of deep purplish blue. Very well made with a little bit of, it's got like a little hinge in there. So I'm going to go here to the standard bail that I just kind of push in. So I am going to, there we go. So that one's ready. So I think I'm going to use that other, where you push it in there again. I believe from my research that this stone, which I'd never seen before, it's a flat stone that's bezel set into this used to be single earring. But from my research, and I'm going to show you, it is a stone, it is cold. And from my research, I thought it might either be something called purpurite, P-U-R-P-U-R-I-T-E, because I did a Google search on it and that pulled up, or possibly sugilite, or a purple turquoise. But I don't think it's purple turquoise, because the purple turquoise tend to have more like green and, gold and brown kind of striations in it. And I feel like it would have more texture on the top, like it would show, as turquoise has the bumps and the grooves and that sort of thing. But when I did look up purpurite, spelt P-U-R-P-U-R-I-T-E, this is what I found. This sort of has a little light bluish kind of color to it. Let me bring it up closer. There you go. It sort of has this sort of light blue, almost like turquoise colored, but I don't believe it's turquoise. And so these are not polished ones, but you can see it's got some of those same kind of colors to it. Here's where I saw some of the kind of light blue again. That reminded me of the one that I have, except these aren't polished. So anyways, that's what I'm going with. I'm going with that. So purpurite. All right. So I'm just going to push in one of these little bails. I see I'm gonna have to order some more bales. This kind, that is. Okay, so it's looking like that. I think on this one, I can just do a jump ring on it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I know, I said this in my video yesterday. If someone who actually makes jewelry would probably do this 3 times faster than me. Made it flush against each other again. And that's, of course, that kind of filigree moonstone with sort of a teardrop cabochon bezel set round stone. Okay, and I got this one, which I believe this is jasper. It's definitely cold. And jasper is a type of quartz. It kind of goes to like the very beginning of quartz. I believe I'm going to do one of these push ones again. This looks more tarnished than the thing I'm putting on there. Okay, so there you go. All right, I have 2 left. And unfortunately, both of these last 2 do not have any sort of ring on it or any place that I could put a jump ring or anywhere that I could put a bail. And so we're going to do the same strategy that I did in part 1 yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to see that video, you can go back and check it out. It's just, I basically did the same type thing I'm doing today with these, except with costume jewelry, single earrings. And I actually created a bail using an earring back where we kind of bent it differently and glued it down, and we're able to make our own bail. The problem is the bails, the glue-on bails I have are too big, and it would cover up the back of this too much. As I mentioned to you earlier, you know, when I cut off these posts back, they leave little kind of scratchy things back here, and like I showed you earlier, I use a file, and now they're really smooth on both of them. So this one on the left is garnet, as you can see. Marquee shaped garnets and more moonstone. Maybe that's a rainbow moonstone. It's more bluish. I don't know. And then this one is tourmaline. I know it's not onyx, because if it was onyx, it would go all the way up to quartz, because onyx is a type of quartz. There you go. Okay. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to turn this gem tester off. I don't need that anymore. Get that out of here so we have more room to work. So we won't need any more of those jump rings. We don't need these anymore either. Let me put those away. Okay, so let me explain. We bring our little frog friend back in here. These are all the necklaces we finished that I'm going to show you at the end. I'm going to put them all in necklaces and show you how nice they are. But let me zoom into just looking at these. So what you're going to need to do this is you're going to need some type of glue adhesive that can work well on metal. Personally, I use something that's called E6000. You can't see the E because it's covered up there. Yeah, the way I use E6000, I like to use it usually in some sort of syringe tip if I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff. But today I'm only squirting 2 little dots, so I'll probably just squirt it out of that lid there. It can be quite messy if you're not careful. Believe for this one, you see, I don't want to like cover up the 925 completely, but I think I'm going to use this jump ring. It's a little bit longer. And it's, you know, going to go right in there once I finish it. And then this one's a little bit stubbier and shorter. And I don't have as much room on this one to create this. And the problem is I'm going to actually have to cover up a little bit of the, you know, opening there for the stone to get light. Hopefully I can kind of angle it in a way that the light can still get through. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure it out. Okay, so let's do this one first. So as I explained yesterday, what you have to do is you find a back. This one is a 925 because the jewelry is 925. I want to be consistent with that. Make sure you're working with a clean back. This isn't necessarily a brand new back, but I know that it's clean because I checked that. Round nose pliers. And we're going to very gently kind of push back that side. Let me go to the other side. Because what we're doing here is we're opening up where they basically had space for, they had two spaces kind of in there. And we're going to be opening this up so we create just one big space. And so just like I showed you yesterday with using my pliers, I'm going to try to go in here and stretch out these things because I want to bring them together. So I want this to sort of be flat and big and open, so I can maneuver it. So I did that side. You just kind of got to play with it a little bit. Now, sterling silver can be really soft, so you want to be careful that you're not bending it so fast or so sharply that it causes it to break. We don't want that to happen. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out for my flat nose pliers. I'm going to go in here now and I'm going to just try to flatten this whole top section, because what's going to happen is these sections are going to come together. And so I've kind of sort of flattened them like that. And now I can sort of use my hands to sort of push them together, one overlapping the other. See what I'm doing? Or I push it down and basically create this shape. And I'm going to use my pliers even more here to make sure that this is nice and flat. See, like that? And I'm actually think I'm going to squeeze it together a little bit with my hand to try to get it to go a little bit skinnier. I could even use the pliers. I just want to be careful because I don't want to deform it. Okay, now it's really overlapping. I want it to overlap as much as possible. Okay, so it's looking like that. Okay. Now, just like I said yesterday, the orientation in which we're going to glue this onto the necklace, the pendant, if this is the top of my pendant, I want to make sure that the side, the piece of metal that's at the top goes under, you see this one goes under the other piece of metal, where I want this end to be where the chain is. Because if this gets pulled, this other piece of metal is over it, it's not going to just pull itself out. But if you did it on the other side and glued it in this orientation, and your chain goes here, and if your chain pulled at it, well, it's on the top, it will much easier especially with soft sterling silver, it could pull it out and deform it and, no longer act as a bail. So anyways, so now I'm going to glue that one down, but let me go ahead and make this other bail too. So this is the other one. This is an even skinnier one. I got to try to make it as narrow as possible. They're just so teeny to work with. So again, I'm going to pull it out. We're making our own bail here. And I'm going to pull it out. Then I'm going to continue to work with opening that up. Open that up. And then I want to try to flatten this out a little bit. My other pliers. So now I'm going to grab my flat nose pliers and continue to work with this. It's a work in progress. It doesn't happen right away. But I'm just coming in here and just trying to mush it flat. At the same time, I'm taking my fingers and kind of mushing them together so that one's on top of the other, as you can see there. You see, this one was not as wide as the other one, the back itself. So I want to try to keep it that nice thin, because the amount of space I have to work with to glue it down is very limited. Okay, but I think that's good enough. So I could put it up there, but it's more likely that I'm going to be covering up the 925, and I really don't want to do that. So personally, I think I'm going to flip it over and make it hang like that. So I'm just pulling off this little thing. Normally, like I said, I would do it with a syringe, but I'm literally just putting a dot right there. And I really want to mush it down in there. I want the glue to just kind of squeeze. Even you can see it squeezes up the hole on the inside. I can go pick that out after it dries, because I just want it, it'll stick really well if it's got lots of surface area touching. E6000, once it dries, if I have some extra glue kind of on here, I can go back in once it's dry and I can pull it off. So I'm not worried that there's kind of extra glue that's seeped out outside of that space of that, the little space that I'm gluing it down. I see there's extra glue, but I'll just pull that off after. So I think I have it straight enough, and I'm going to set it over here and let it dry. This one's the tricky one because I just don't have a lot of space. And the bail has to go this direction because that's the way that the ear necklace, I mean the necklace is going to go through there. So it's very challenging. Just going to put one teeny little dot. I really don't want it to get on that moonstone, so I don't want that. Okay, so I make sure I have this oriented the right way. And that is the correct way, like that. I think it kind of sticks out a little bit. I really want this to be flatter. I think once it dries, I can go and push it down and make it a little bit flatter. But right now, I just want to get it positioned right where I'm not really affecting the light. Okay, so there you go. And then I'll come back at you and I'll take all of these and put them on chains, and we can look at the awesome creations that we made. Woohoo! Along with our little froggy friend who's already been through it. He says, hey guys, it's not so bad. I know you were lonely once, but your life's about to change. A whole new life, whole new adventure for all these lovely earrings. Okay, I'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, well, alrighty then. Here I am back with these beautiful pendants. All the ones that we worked on, including my little frog that came to join all his new little friends here. I just pulled an array of chains just so I could stick all the pendants on them. But I don't know what you think. I'd love to hear from you in comments about what you thought about this DIY. Obviously, everyone's heard about how to convert a single earring to a pendant using a jump ring. So many of these use jump rings. That really wasn't a difficult new concept. But the fun thing I wanted to share was the thing I had learned about how you could take an earring back and turn it into a pendant. Okay, it is definitely still drying, so I need to be, you know, really careful about it. But see it hang, reuse backs to create bails. So Here's a challenge. Go into the comments and see if you can name every one of these chains. That's a challenge because there's so many different types of chains in here. You'd have to really zoom in, but there's probably 10 different styles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some are bigger of the same style. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's probably about 10 different styles there. Anyways, so which one's your favorite? Do you have a favorite? Please let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope to bring you some other fun little do-it-yourself jewelry fix-ups in the near future. Okay, have a great night. Thanks so much. See you later from Cherished Relics Boutique.